good and fit to everyone. This is a special nighttime edition, Riding with the Rabbi. We have just concluded another amazing Yom Kippur here at Eitz Chaim. All of our chazanim, singers, everybody was back. Crowds were back. And I have the privilege now of driving Rabbi David Block. We're going back to Newark Airport. He lives in Los Angeles County in California. As I mentioned in Shul, he is the head of school of the Shalhevet High School in Los Angeles. So David, tell me, how was your Yom Kippur here?
Oh, it was beautiful. 2 years ago, I wasn't able to be here, as you know. You were very angry with me.
Angry? How can I be angry? Your son had a bris.
On the way home from Rosh Hashanah, from being here in Rosh Hashanah, so during the flight, my wife gave birth to our beautiful boy, who is now almost 2 years old, and the bris was on Yom Kippur, so I couldn't be here. So this is, and then last year because of COVID. So this was a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for me.
How often? Let me ask you, because and you know we're big fans of your wife. We love Gila. How often are you reminded of the fact that you missed the birth? Like on how regular of a basis does that happen?
It's fairly often. I definitely think she likes that I'm here, meaning she loves you guys, so it makes it a little easier. But I'll tell you, on the plane, no one cared. Everyone was like tired and they were sleeping. I came back right after a shot, like, you know, similar to this flight right now, and everyone was sleeping. I was trying to show them, like, I was FaceTiming in with this new baby. No one cared. They didn't give you
like any free snacks?
No free snacks. I was sleeping, like, whatever.
Okay. Well, it means so much for us that you come out across the country, literally, to daven for us, and it's so worthwhile for us to be able to hear you. How did you get started singing?
How did I get started singing? Oh, I did not have any, like, I wasn't in any choirs when I was younger. I was just, I was in YU, and I remember when they put out an email saying anyone who's interested in doing some a cappella, which I wasn't really all that familiar with, but I figured I might as well try. I needed to do something I needed to do something extracurricular, let's say. So I tried out, and I ended up getting the opportunity to join.
What's the name of that group?
It ended up becoming the Maccabees. And it was fun. And that really started me on the path towards singing. I don't want to say professionally, but more regularly.
But you must have picked up a lot of skills doing that, because, like, learning how to do certain harmonies or accompaniments, you know, it's not something that just comes naturally.
Correct. That's something that I really learned a lot of that. I mean, listen, I knew how to do, I guess, some harmonies come naturally, I guess, but yeah, I'm not. You can speak to a lot of people in the business. There are plenty of people who are much more musical than me naturally. Just a better sense of, like, just innately. I don't have that all that much, so I learned a lot with the Maccabees and singing since.
Okay. They had the famous song. What was that song that put them on the map? What was that called?
There were a few songs. I mean, are you thinking the Hanukkah song?
The Hanukkah song. What was that? You were in that?
You're trying to do it. What? I was in that. Yeah.
Didn't you write that?
I co-wrote the lyrics to that.
Weren't you sued by Pitbull or somebody, or T.I. or somebody?
Where is this going to go? That's what I want to know.
Whoever takes us.
I don't know if the story's out there, so this might be an exclusive. I really have no idea. At the time, we were certainly keeping it quiet. The publishing company, the way it works in the music world is that artists usually don't own the rights to their songs because it is much easier for large publishing companies to own them, because they have a lot of people and money to back them, so they can kind of pursue any action. So the publishing company that owned this song by Teo Cruz had reached out to us. And I don't want to say threatened, but they were not pleased. So we spoke to our lawyer, and we ended up removing the song. And listen, it is a parody, and educational parodies are certainly allowed to be made. You're just not allowed to really monetize on it.
But that's got to be the greatest form of flattery.
It is.
Like, you've made it, like when you.
Right. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm waiting for one of the riding in cars with comedians or somebody, or singing cars. I'm waiting for them to reach out to me and say, please stop doing that. I don't know. I mean, I guess I have to break more than 10 views for that to happen, and we haven't been there yet. So,
your Havdalahs. Did anyone reach out to you for your Havdalahs during COVID? Those
yes,
were my favorite.
They did. So we have a story. You know my Aunt Shelley.
Yeah, of course.
So Aunt Shelley, David is from West Hempstead. He knows my wife's family.
I grew up at Aunt Shelley's house.
Yeah. So Aunt Shelley, she was watching when we were doing Facebook Havdalah every week during COVID. She was part of it. And then afterwards, I was talking to her. I said, "Oh, by the way, I'm sorry we stopped doing the Facebook." She's like, "Oh, I just watched the recordings." So since then, actually, every single Motzei Shabbos now, we FaceTime with her and we make Havdalah with her.
That's so nice. Right?
Yeah, we do every week.
She's so great. That's really nice.
But I've known, so we have a lot of connections. I've known David for quite some time. I knew when he was a youngling.
That's right.
And he was a student, And now, I mean, we're so unbelievably proud of you. Look, you know, you've got your doctorate, and you.
I almost have a doctorate.
By me, that's more than I've done. So you're a doctor, in my opinion. You're the head of school. That's not like, you know, assistant teacher to the assistant teacher of the assistant teachers. That's like you're the head of school. You're the man. Well, I guess out in California they say you're La Mancha, or what do they say?
I can't comment on this.
You can't. I don't know Spanish, but I mean, that's very impressive, and you're not even 30 years old yet, so that's really super impressive. And
it is true that I'm head of school. It is not true that I'm not 30 years old.
And I mean, and you have a guy. You guys are awesome, and people in the shul remember that a number of years ago, and I still hold it's one of the greatest presentations we ever did, is when you and Gila spoke in shul. It was almost as good as the chakras that day, but you spoke about Yesh Tikva. Tell me, how's Yesh Tikva doing?
Yesh Tikva is doing really beautifully. Gila's my wife, and she runs this organization that supports people going through infertility. We ourselves went through infertility for a whole number of years, and it really inspired Gila to create this organization. And she's reaching just a ton of people, which is really beautiful. Support groups all around, and posts constantly on Instagram reminding people about certain sensitivities. So listen, there are a lot of people. The stat that she always shares is 1 in 8. 1 in 8 couples really struggle or suffer from and with infertility, and that's a lot of people. I always think about, if you're sitting in shul, like, you know, at least statistically, you know, one of those people are likely had an issue with this in their lives. So a lot of people suffer silently. It's not a big topic in the world of in our Jewish communities, and I think it should be. People should not have to suffer silently. So Gila's trying to move the needle.
That's amazing. Kol hakavod to you. And I remember even after your presentation, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's the first time you publicly told your story.
That might be true. Yeah, I think that's true.
And people were coming out of the woodwork like, yeah, I went through it. My sister went through it.
Yeah, vulnerability is contagious. Vulnerability is really contagious. So when people, when you share a little bit and people feel they're comfortable, you know what, I'm not alone, and they're able to share also. It's a big
like I did today in shul, like at my Yom Kippur sermon.
Yes, that was a very nice. You should tell people about your Yom Kippur.
Yeah. Well, everybody watching this was there.
That's fair.
Whether they were listening or not, that's a whole different question.
That was a beautiful sermon.
I put people to sleep. I'm very good at that. What is your greatest what is your greatest goal that you want to achieve as an educator?
Oh my goodness. You know, I really believe this is the reason I'm hesitating is only because when we talk about like being in an administrative position, we don't always get to focus on the things that we find or that we feel are the most important. Honestly, the reason of education, the highest goal that I have is to teach others and to allow others to realize that they actually have an honest, sincere, authentic relationship with their Creator. And to me, I think that is something that we constantly grow up in. There are wonderful schools in the world. There are places that teach Torah beautifully and at a high level, and I like to feel that we do the same. But to infuse that with allowing people to ask really important questions and allow them to actually have nuance and beauty and thoughtfulness in their relationship with God, and to know that it's not just rote and it's not just dogmatic and it's not a checklist in terms of things that we do, I think is really important. And that's my ultimate goal, to foster those very personal, authentic relationships.
I mean, that's a very well spoken, thought out answer. And if that's something you did off the cuff, I mean, that's wow.
This was unrehearsed.
Unrehearsed. I'm just saying, if I would have had a teacher like you when I was young, I might have turned out okay. Now, I know for a while, I have 2 more questions for you.
I'm ready.
I know for a while you were dabbling in the rabbinate.
Yes.
And you ultimately chose the path of education.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the right decision for you? Or, I mean, you would have been a great rabbi also. I mean, I think whatever you do, you would have been great. But do you feel like this is the right path for you, or do you ever like look back and say I coulda, shoulda, woulda?
Yeah, no, I don't regret anything. I really enjoy pulpit rabbinics in terms of the elements of being with people in important moments in their lives, but also I love being with adults also, and that is something that I miss. I don't regret it at all, but it's always something that still speaks to me. The rabbinate is something that is I guess will always somewhat be in my mind, but I'm very, very happy with where I am. I think I've made the right decision, certainly for now, and
like I said, anything you do, I think you'll be great at. By the way, David's father-in-law is a very well-known pulpit rabbi.
That's right.
Rabbi Elazar Muskin, the rabbi of Young Israel Century City, Beverly Hills.
Yeah, and what he does, and both makes me feel like maybe he does amazing things in terms of his the way he everything. His pastoral care is second to none, and the way he speaks is just passionate and beautiful. And there are also, I see challenges with the rabbinate that I know that you experience also, and we have that also as head of school. And you have none of those. I know. So I see that firsthand also. But he's an unbelievable rabbi.
Okay, so my last question, because we're getting close to the airport. What do you like? You don't have to fly across the country.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure you could get a gig somewhere else davening. What is it about Eitz Chaim that draws you, that says, year after year you want to come back? And it's a great personal sacrifice, meaning, traveling and at night, red eyes, children at home, wife reminding him he missed the birth. I mean, like all these kind of things. So what, if could you put into a few words, like what is it? You've seen Eitz Chaim quite a bit. Yeah. You've seen me in the rabbinate for quite a bit, for many years in different places. But what is it about Eitz Chaim that speaks to you?
I think there are a few elements of what makes a really meaningful Yontif and experience and community for me. One of them is that really from the first moment, I feel very at home at Eitz Chaim. And I've only been there for a cumulative, if we actually count the number of days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, I don't know, 15 days.
And a couple of Shabbos.
Yeah, exactly. But I have felt very, very welcome from the very first moment that I walked in. The people there are wonderful. I know I'm kind of speaking to them and talking about, I'm saying that very sincerely. So the community has felt from the moment that I walked in, just so warm and welcoming, and I think we're in it for the same reasons. They want to have a meaningful davening on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. They want to connect, and that's what I want also. The davening is beautiful, and that was true before I came. The davening is really special, and that's not only Reb Simcha, who does a beautiful job, but what you put together in terms of bringing out other singers to accompany them. The community sings, the community gets into it, and it's really beautiful. And the real piece, and not that those weren't real, but you and I have a relationship for a very long time, and it is a real bracha for me to be able to spend Yontif with you, and to see what you've been growing and how the community has grown under your leadership. I consider you both a friend and a mentor, and those times are out. By the way, Rebbe Tzanoth, Sarah, it's one of the joys in my life to actually sit down and have a meal with her. It is unbelievable. But Gila
I'm thinking
knows,
back to one in particular.
By the way, maybe we shouldn't talk about that one right now. It's not here. I'm going to be clear about that. It was an amazing. But Gila, my wife, knows it is hard. I mean, we have kids at home, and Gila's parents are there certainly, but she's still somewhat by herself in Rosh Hashanah. She knows how important this is to me. She knows how much I love it. She knows the chiyus, the life that I get from this, and it's really true.
So Gila, thank you.
Yeah.
We really makes such a difference for us, and it takes us from great to amazing and excellent.
Can I say one thing before you sign off? I don't know if you're about to. Am I allowed?
Yeah. Well,
it was many years ago. I'm not that old, but it was at least a decade ago, more, whatever. When I was still young and not yet.
Because you're not young now.
I said I started with that. I prefaced it with that.
Yeah.
I was in the shul that Rabbi Klimenov was previously the Rav of, and we were singing. It was whatever. It was an a cappella gig, I guess. And I think you had asked. Is this right? You had asked someone to say Dvar Torah at Shalosh Shudas.
Yes.
So I had ended up saying the Dvar Torah at Shalosh Shudas.
I asked you.
You asked me specifically?
Yeah.
How do you know me?
You were at the table. I heard you speaking at the table. We had dinner, Shabbos dinner.
I didn't know this part of the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we realized your mother was.
Oh, you also right.
Your mother was my daughter's kindergarten teacher.
Right. So I studied Dvar Torah, and I always remember that after. I'm sure it was a fine Dvar Torah. I'm sure
it was
excellent.
Like,
okay.
Not fine.
I don't mean. But
don't ever tell your wife that she looks fine. Yeah, I made that mistake once. That's bad.
About yourself, you could say it. And you and Rabbi Klimenov, this is really important, gave me an opportunity in Rabbanos, in the pulpit right then. Meaning you hired me to help out during the Yom Noraim, to be a Rav of the second minyan, to daven a little bit. And I was really young, and I remember saying to you, I don't even have smicha yet. I was in the process. I don't have smicha yet. And you looked at me and you said, I don't care. you said that you saw potential in me, and you wanted to invest in that potential and give me that opportunity. And you are, I can honestly say, you're absolutely a huge part of what I've been able to accomplish. It's been very small in terms of, I'm newly in this position, and I hope to be able to do good things. But the fact that I am where I am, both in terms of my involvement with community and in education, is a huge part of you looking at me and saying, I want to invest in you. And
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was, there's always someone has to give you a shot or something. And so you met the new you.
I met the new me.
You met the new me. It says Rabbi Bernstein.
Yeah, this guy's a good guy.
Same thing happened, right? But you get it, right? You see it, right? You understand, right? You get it.
You have an eye for spotting. See, this sounds self-serving. I don't mean for it to, but you have an eye of recognizing where there's potential and investing in that.
and I have no patience for search committees.
That's also
also-
true. That's the real truth.
It's a good combination.
Much
but,
easier this way.
Yeah, anyway, I want you to have a safe trip home, and we can't wait to see you again soon. God willing, you'll come back and visit, you with the whole family, and you should just have a good Gebenchtür, a Gemar Tov, a guten Kvittel, all good things. And I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with us here in the car. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.